God says, you're making the biggest mistake of your life. You stand at the edge of something you cannot see. The air around you hums with a frequency you've learned to ignore. Every morning, you wake and perform the same rituals, reaching for your phone before your thoughts can fully form, drowning in the noise of 1,000 voices that aren't your own. You believe you're living, but are you? Or have you become a ghost walking through a life that was meant to be sacred? Listen carefully. What I'm about to tell you will shake the very foundation of everything you thought you knew about your existence. The mistake you're making isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself with trumpets or thunder. It's quiet, insidious, woven into the fabric of your daily choices so seamlessly that you've stopped noticing it altogether. You're trading eternity for seconds. You're exchanging your soul's purpose for comfort. And the clock is ticking louder than you realize. I watch you. Every moment, every choice, every whisper of your heart reaches me. And I see something that breaks the very essence of divine love. I see you forgetting who you are. Not your name, not your job title, not the roles you play for others. I see you forgetting the ancient truth written into your DNA, the covenant made before time began, the promise that you are not an accident but a deliberate act of infinite creativity. You were sculpted from stardust and divine breath. You carry within you the capacity to move mountains, to speak life into dead situations, to be a conduit of transformation in a world that's forgotten how to see miracles. Yet you settle. You shrink. You apologize for taking up space in a universe that was expanded specifically to contain your purpose. The mistake isn't what you think. It's not the obvious sins you confess and feel guilty about. It's far more dangerous than that. The mistake is your willingness to live a mediocre existence when you were designed for magnificence. The mistake is your acceptance of spiritual numbness as normal. The mistake is that you've stopped listening to the wind, to the silence, to the voice that whispers in the space between your thoughts. Consider the prophet standing in the wilderness, voice raw from crying out warnings no one wanted to hear. Consider the messenger arriving at midnight with news that changes everything. I am that voice. I am that knock at your door. And the message is both warning and invitation. You're being distracted to death. Your attention, the most sacred resource you possess, is being harvested like wheat in autumn. Every ping, every notification, every manufactured crisis designed to keep your eyes glued to screens is pulling you away from the one conversation that could save your life. You think you're connected because you have 1,000 followers, but you're more isolated than humans have been in millennia. You think you're informed because you consume endless content, but you're more confused than ever about what's true. The ancients understood something you've forgotten. They knew that silence wasn't empty, it was full. Full of divine frequency, full of clarity, full of the still small voice that speaks truth to power and peace to chaos. They created spaces for listening. They prioritized the unseen over the seen. They protected their inner world with the ferocity you now reserve for protecting your reputation or your bank account. What are you protecting? Your image. Your comfort. Your right to remain unchanged. These are sand castles built at low tide. The waters are rising, and you're decorating temporary structures instead of building on the rock. I gave you intuition, but you've learned to override it. I gave you dreams, but you've dismissed them as meaningless. I gave you a conscience, but you've negotiated with it until it barely whispers anymore. You've become fluent in the language of rationalization, expert at explaining away the persistent feeling that something isn't right, that you're meant for more, that this can't be all there is. But it's not all there is. There are layers of reality you haven't touched. There are dimensions of existence you haven't explored. There are gifts dormant within you that have never been unwrapped. There are conversations waiting to happen between your soul and mind that would revolutionize everything you understand about life, death, purpose, and possibility. The biggest mistake is that you've stopped believing in your own significance. Somewhere along the way, you absorbed the lie that you're just one among billions, that your choices don't matter, that your life is too small to make a difference. You look at the state of the world and feel powerless. You look at your own struggles and feel forgotten. You look at your dreams and feel foolish. But I am telling you now, you are not random. Your existence is not accidental. The precise moment you drew your first breath was orchestrated. The specific combination of gifts, wounds, experiences, and longings that make you uniquely you is not a cosmic mistake. It's a divine signature. You are a word I am speaking into existence. A story I am telling. A song I am singing into the darkness. And you're getting the melody wrong. For your son, support by giving a super thanks up to $100, as a simple act of faith and gratitude. Not by pressure, but by love, saying, Lord, I believe this word and I receive it. You're singing the world's song instead of your own. You're dancing to rhythms that weren't composed for your feet. You're trying to fit into spaces that were never meant to contain you. The discomfort you feel, the restlessness that wakes you at 3 in the morning, the persistent sense that you're living someone else's life, these aren't signs that something is wrong with you. They're signs that you're meant for something different. Time is not infinite, though you act as if it is. You scroll as if you have centuries. You procrastinate as if tomorrow is guaranteed. You postpone the important conversations, the necessary changes, the courageous leaps, as if there will always be another chance. But I see what you cannot, the fragility of this moment, the opportunities that won't circle back, the divine appointments you're missing because you're too busy or too afraid or too convinced that you're not ready. You will never be more ready than you are right now. The preparation you think you need is often just fear wearing a disguise. The perfect moment you're waiting for is a mirage that retreats further into the future with every step you take toward it. I am inviting you into something now, today, this hour. Not when you're more qualified, more healed, more financially secure, more confident. Now. The prophets didn't wait until they felt ready. Moses stuttered. Jeremiah was young. Esther was terrified. Peter was impulsive. Mary was confused. Every single person I've ever called to something significant has felt inadequate for it. That feeling isn't a disqualification. It's confirmation that you're being invited into something bigger than yourself, something that will require you to depend on strength that isn't your own. This is the mystery. Weakness is the doorway. Surrender is the path. Letting go is how you receive. Everything the world taught you about success and strength and power is backwards. The meek inherit the earth. The servant becomes the leader. The one who loses their life finds it. These aren't pretty platitudes. They're the operating system of the kingdom, the physics of the spiritual realm, the secret architecture of how reality actually works beneath the surface of appearances. You've been trying to add divine power to your human agenda. You've been asking me to bless your plans instead of asking what my plans are. You've been praying for circumstances to change while refusing to let me change you. You've been wanting miracles without transformation, breakthrough without surrender, resurrection without death. But resurrection always requires death. Something in you has to die. The false self you've constructed has to be crucified. The identity you've built from achievements, approval, and accumulation has to be stripped away. The masks you've worn for so long that you've forgotten your real face have to be removed. This is terrifying because you've confused these things with who you actually are. Who are you when nobody is watching? Who are you when all the external markers of identity are removed? Who are you in the silence, in the stillness, in the space between who you were and who you're becoming? This is where I meet you. Not in the highlight reel. Not in the performance. In the raw, unfiltered truth of your humanity and your hunger for something real. The world is full of performers, but I'm looking for people who are willing to be real. The churches are full of people who know the right words, but I'm searching for hearts that are genuinely broken and genuinely seeking. The spiritual marketplace is crowded with consumers shopping for experiences, but I'm calling disciples who will count the cost and pay it anyway. What is the cost? Everything. And nothing. It depends on how tightly you're gripping what you need to release. For some, the cost is reputation. For others, it's control. For many, it's the comfort of certainty, the safety of staying small, the familiar pain they've grown accustomed to carrying. You've been carrying burdens I never asked you to carry. You've been shouldering responsibilities that aren't yours. You've been trying to save people I didn't assign you to save, fix things I didn't authorize you to fix, control outcomes that were never meant to be in your hands. This is exhausting you. It's depleting you. It's distracting you from the one thing I've actually called you to, intimacy with me. Everything else flows from that. Every gift, every assignment, every relationship, every creative expression, every act of service. It all flows from the fountain of connection with divine love. When you try to do the work without the connection, you end up burned out, bitter, and bewildered about why it's so hard. You were never meant to operate from your own strength. You were designed to be a branch connected to the vine, a conduit for energy and life that originates elsewhere. But you've been trying to be the source instead of the channel. You've been trying to generate light instead of reflect it. You've been trying to manufacture peace instead of receive it. This is the exhausting treadmill you're on, and the mistake is that you think the answer is to run faster. The answer is to get off the treadmill entirely. For your son, support by giving a super thanks up to $100, as a simple act of faith and gratitude. Not by pressure, but by love, saying, Lord, I believe this word and I receive it. What would it look like to stop striving and start abiding? What would it feel like to release the burden of having to figure everything out? What would open up if you truly believed that you are deeply, wildly, extravagantly loved exactly as you are right now, not as you hope to be, not as you think you should be, but as you are in this imperfect, messy, confused, beautiful moment? Love is not waiting for you to get your act together. Love is the force that helps you get your act together. Love is not the reward for spiritual achievement. Love is the foundation from which all genuine transformation occurs. You cannot earn it. You cannot lose it. You can only accept it or reject it, open to it or close yourself off from it, allow it to remake you or resist the process. And resistance is where most people live. Resisting change, resisting discomfort, resisting the call to something more. You resist because change feels like death, and in a way, it is. The caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly by adding wings to its existing form. It dissolves completely in the chrysalis. Everything it was must be broken down before something new can emerge. You're in the chrysalis right now, and you're fighting the process. You're trying to remain a caterpillar while still hoping for flight. Let go. Surrender. Stop fighting the very transformation you've been praying for. The pruning isn't punishment, it's preparation. The wilderness isn't abandonment, it's training ground. The waiting isn't wasted time, it's gestation. Everything you're experiencing is purposeful, even when it's painful. Especially when it's painful. Pain is often the megaphone I use to wake you from sleep. Comfort has a way of lulling you into complacency. You need the disruption. You need the crisis that forces you to your knees. You need the moment when all your plans collapse and you finally cry out with genuine desperation instead of polite requests. This is when breakthrough happens. This is when walls fall. This is when the Red Sea parts. But you have to walk forward. I will make a way through the impossible, but you have to take the step. Faith is not standing still and waiting for me to carry you. Faith is moving forward even when you can't see the path, trusting that the ground will rise to meet your feet. Faith is showing up for the assignment even when you feel unqualified. Faith is speaking the word even when your voice shakes. Faith is choosing love when fear feels safer. Fear has been your master for too long. It disguises itself as wisdom, as prudence, as protecting yourself from disappointment. But I did not give you a spirit of fear. I gave you power, love, and a sound mind. The sound mind isn't the one that catastrophizes every possibility. The sound mind is the one that remains anchored in truth regardless of circumstances, that sees with spiritual eyes beyond physical appearances, that knows who you are because it knows whose you are. You are mine. Not in some abstract, theological sense. In the most intimate, personal, particular way. I know the number of hairs on your head. I've collected your tears in a bottle. I've written your name on the palm of my hand. I've prepared good works in advance for you to walk in. I've seen every version of you that will ever exist, and I love them all. I love the you that's reading this right now, uncertain and seeking. I love the you that will emerge on the other side of surrender. I love even the you that's resisting me, because I see beneath the resistance to the fear that drives it and the wound that caused the fear. You're not too far gone. You're not too broken. You're not too stained, too lost, too late. These are lies whispered by the accuser whose only power is deception. The truth is that you're exactly where you need to be for this encounter. This moment is pregnant with possibility. This conversation could be the turning point you'll look back on and recognize as the beginning of everything changing. But you have to choose it. I will not override your will. I will not force transformation upon you. I will knock, but you must open the door. I will call, but you must answer. I will extend the invitation, but you must RSVP. This is the terrible and beautiful gift of free will, you get to choose. Even when you choose wrong. Even when you choose death instead of life. Even when you choose the familiar cage over the frightening freedom. Many will choose the cage. They'll hear this word and feel the stirring in their spirit, the quickening of something long dormant, the ember of hope beginning to glow. And then they'll talk themselves out of it. They'll rationalize. They'll say, someday, instead of today. They'll return to the comfortable numbness, the predictable patterns, the slow death of spiritual sleepwalking. They'll make the biggest mistake of their lives, not with one dramatic decision, but with 1,000 small choices to ignore the call. Don't be one of them. Please. I'm begging you with the intensity of divine longing. I'm pleading with you like a parent who sees their child walking toward danger. I'm calling to you like a shepherd who's left the 99 to search for the one. You are that one. Right now, in this moment, you are the sole focus of infinite attention and infinite love. What would it take for you to believe that? What evidence do you need beyond the fact that you're still breathing, still here, still being pursued by grace even after all the ways you've run and hidden and pretended not to hear? Your very existence is evidence of divine persistence. The fact that your heart still beats is proof that your story isn't over. The fact that you're encountering these words right now is not coincidence, it's providence. There are no coincidences in the kingdom. There are only appointments, divine setups, orchestrated moments when heaven and earth touch. This is one of those moments. You could have been anywhere, doing anything, but you're here, reading this, feeling whatever you're feeling, maybe hope, maybe skepticism, maybe fear, maybe hunger. All of it is welcome. Bring it all to the altar. I can work with anything except indifference. Indifference is the real enemy. Not anger, I can work with anger. Not doubt, I can work with doubt. But indifference, the shrug of whatever, the spiritual apathy that feels nothing and wants nothing, that's the most dangerous state of all. If you're feeling anything right now, even if it's resistance or confusion or pain, that's good. That means you're alive. That means there's still something in you that can be awakened. Wake up. This is the message. Wake up before it's too late. Wake up before the patterns are so deeply grooved that breaking them feels impossible. Wake up before you've invested so much in the false self that letting it die feels like losing everything. Wake up before the voice calling you becomes so faint you can no longer hear it. Wake up before you forget entirely that you were made for more than this. You were made to walk with me. In the garden, in the cool of the day, no barriers between us. That was always the design. Not religion, relationship. Not rules, connection. Not duty, delight. The religious systems have obscured this truth, buried it under layers of obligation and guilt and performance. But I'm calling you back to Eden, back to the original intimacy, back to the unfiltered access that was always your birthright. Sin isn't primarily about breaking rules. Sin is separation. It's the rupture of connection, the turning away from the source of life. Every time you choose something else over me, you're not disappointing a cosmic rule keeper, you're breaking your own heart. You're choosing lesser things over the greatest thing. You're settling for shadows when you could have substance. And the shadows are multiplying. The distractions are increasing. The noise is getting louder. The world system is designed to keep you spinning, consuming, producing, performing, never stopping long enough to ask the questions that matter. Who am I? Why am I here? What is my life for? These questions terrify the powers that profit from your distraction. But these questions liberate. They orient. They cut through the fog and point you toward truth. I am inviting you into a life organized around these questions instead of a life organized around accumulation, achievement, and approval. This is countercultural. This is radical. This will cost you relationships with people who prefer you asleep. It will cost you the comfort of conformity. It will cost you the illusion of control. But what you'll gain is immeasurable. You'll gain your soul back. You'll gain purpose that satisfies at the deepest level. You'll gain the ability to see reality as it actually is instead of through the distorted lens of fear and ego. You'll gain access to divine power that doesn't originate from you but flows through you. You'll gain the capacity to love without agenda, give without resentment, serve without seeking recognition. You'll become human the way humans were meant to be, not gods, but God-bearers. Image-bearers. Walking temples. Mobile sanctuaries. Ordinary people through whom extraordinary things happen because they've learned the secret of abiding, of staying connected to the source. This is available to you. Not someday. Now. Today. This moment. The kingdom isn't coming, it's here. It's at hand. It's within reach. It's within you. Christ in you, the hope of glory. The treasure in the earthen vessel. The seed of divinity planted in human soil, waiting to germinate, waiting for the right conditions to sprout and grow and bear fruit. What are those conditions? Death and darkness. The seed must be buried. It must break open. It must surrender its form to gain a new one. This is always the pattern. Crucifixion precedes resurrection. Friday comes before Sunday. The grain of wheat must fall into the ground and die, or it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much fruit. You're holding on to the single grain, terrified to release it. You're gripping your small, separate existence, afraid that if you let go, there will be nothing. But the opposite is true. If you hold on, you remain alone, limited, stuck. If you let go, if you fall into the ground, if you allow the death of the false self, that's when multiplication happens. That's when abundance flows. That's when you become more yourself than you've ever been, because you're finally aligned with your true nature instead of fighting it. Your true nature is love. Your true nature is generosity. Your true nature is creativity and courage and compassion. But it's been buried under layers of protection, defense mechanisms, survival strategies that made sense once but now just keep you small and separate and scared. I'm offering you liberation. Not easy. Not painless. But real. Lasting. Transformative. The kind that changes everything from the inside out. The kind that makes you dangerous to the systems of darkness because you're no longer controllable through fear, manipulation, or the promise of comfort. The time is short. I've been patient, but time is running out. Not because I'm angry, because the world is accelerating toward a crossroads and I need people who are awake, aware, available. I need you. Not when you're perfect. Not when you're fully healed. Not when you've figured everything out. I need you now, as you are, willing to be used, willing to be shaped, willing to say yes even when the assignment terrifies you. This is your moment. This is your invitation. The biggest mistake you could make is walking away from this word unchanged, unmoved, unresponsive. The biggest mistake is returning to business as usual when you've just been offered a completely different way of being human. Choose life. Choose awakening. Choose the narrow path that few find because most aren't willing to pay the price of admission, the death of who you thought you were and the birth of who you actually are. I'm waiting. I'm always waiting. The door is always open. The invitation stands. Come home. Come alive. Come into the fullness of your design. Stop making the mistake of living small when you were created for cosmic significance. Stop trading eternal purpose for temporary pleasure. Stop choosing the wide road that everyone travels when you were made for the narrow path that leads to life. The choice is yours. It's always been yours. And whatever you choose, I will still love you. But only one choice leads to the abundant life you were created for. Only one choice fulfills the ancient purpose written into your bones. Only one choice brings you home to yourself and to me. Choose wisely. Choose now. Everything depends on it. For your son, support by giving a super thanks up to $100, as a simple act of faith and gratitude. Not by pressure, but by love, saying, "Lord, I believe this word and I receive it."